Hello everyone, hope you're having a good week, and I went out to the thrift store this morning, go over the finds that I found today. First and probably only day out this week, went to the half-price book sale, found a big old stack, and went to, of course, the Goodwill bargain bin. So if you follow me on Twitter, you know the first thing I found was, first thing I pulled out of the bin, like 50 cents, this Classic Creatures Return of the Jedi. Definitely a not common VHS find in really good condition. First thing I pulled out, like that was a great way to start my morning. A few more VHS finds, not a whole lot, but Classic Creatures Collection, Universal Studio Monsters, The Mummy, Boris Karloff, great classic film. Special 2 tape collector's pack of some 80s Brat Pack films, like The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles. I'd never seen a specific box set before. These two releases are very common, but that box set of the two of them together, and some original Lost in Space. The last thing for VHS finds was just for like $2. This appears to be working. Toshiba VCR, really good shape, nice model VCR, especially for like $2. Powered on, and it was running a tape as I had it plugged in. Obviously couldn't have hooked up the screen or whatever, but it seems fine. So that's going to be a take apart and clean, because it looks like it's kind of dusty on the inside, so that'll be a fun thing this weekend. Take apart, clean, test some tapes, just for a few bucks. That was a really good grab. Next one, the books are sitting right next to me, so I'll go over them. The one thing I found, which was really good, was this huge lot of Phantom Stallion books. I have 1 to 19 and then 22. So 1 through 19 and 22. And these are ones I was completely unfamiliar with, so I saw this huge stack of them there and saw that they had, in sequential, almost 20 of them, and then 22. So these I had to actually look up, and they were well worth picking up for 25 cents a piece. That was a really good find, actually. It's going to make a really fantastic lot that will not sit around for kids' books. A few other things, some stuff for Amanda's Pengo, and then we have The Dark Tower, Stephen King, Volume 3. Pick up most Stephen King that I find. Then we have a bunch of Bean science fiction. I have a bunch of these left over listed like individually. I have a bunch of lots that have sold over the past few months, like individual like author collections or different series, and I think I'm going to end a bunch of those and just make a big old lot of Bean science fiction. Some of those like one-off ones that I have, and you don't see these very often. One of the Timescape books, I've seen those very infrequently, maybe like once a year I find one randomly, so that's a really cool find. And some Anne Rice. And then these I got, those are at the half-price book sale. These were in the bargain room, this David Eddings hardcover trilogy, and they were a good find because I played the waiting game. It's kind of what you have to do now, because they were in the regular room at $2.99 a piece. I have to take those these off still, but $2.99 a piece in the other room. And I love these. These are Keith Parkinson covers, which is really nostalgic for me as well. But I played the waiting game because sometimes they will sit there in the regular room because all their books are, that's actually at the low end. Now a lot of times like even individual kids books will be like $5, but if you have $3, it's like wait, see if they end up in the bargain room, because they're not like super uncommon. End up in the bargain room like a week later. So that was a cool find. And then a few more books. This vintage 10 Tales Calculated to Give You Shudders. Some vintage horror. Another thing for the Pengo. Berenstain Bears. This Black Sabbath. This is for guitar. So I try to pick up any kind of music stuff when I see it that's in like really good shape or is interesting. I don't see a whole lot of it. This Dumbo at the Circus from '88, I think this one came out. So one of these nice cardboard kids books. Dumbo Circus, and a thing of 30 gel pens. Gel pens is actually a really good thing to pick up. They are very popular, and they're not quite as easy to come by as they were in the heyday. I remember every girl that I knew had those in the 90s. A couple of music finds as well, and then one random video game find. This is cool. This is interesting. This is the soundtrack to Errol Flynn's Captain Blood by the National Philharmonic Orchestra. So that's an unusual find for as far as film soundtracks, something a little more vintage. And then I found some vinyl, but the one the video game thing that I found was this Myst 10th anniversary DVD collection. So 3 Myst games, the first three, each now on one disc, which is really funny because my experience was just the original Myst when it came out. I never played the other ones, but as Myst, Riven, and Exile, but the first one, and like having that on just one disc is pretty cool. So all those, and then some vinyl record finds. Don't pick up a lot because most of what's there tends to be junk, but I found a few things that were worth grabbing, and they're very well taken care of. Somebody had a collection. They all have sleeves, and they're all in really like good condition. This is a collector. Someone had a lot of opera and a lot of show tunes, and I kind of went through and found like a few that were worth grabbing. Pavarotti's greatest hits. Some more Pavarotti. And this is Yul Brynner and Constance Towers in The King and I, one of my mom's like favorite musicals. Some Rodgers and Hammerstein. This is the one. This is the Cinderella with Julie Andrews. Something a little different. I have the DVD of the TV broadcast of that, which is really cool. This is The Sound of Music, Ross Taylor's production. It's the 1981 London production. The album from The Sound of Music. And then this one, I had no idea what this was. It's a new musical comedy, purely Victorious and Ozzy Dave. I had no idea, but I was like, something about it is telling me I should probably pick it up. And yeah, it's worth like what I figure we'll get almost 20 times what I paid for it. So that was worth grabbing. Last kind of random one there. So a couple of things that were unfamiliar today that I grabbed. Some really cool stuff, and it was just I was on a high from the very first thing I pick out this morning is that great Star Wars VHS tape. So a fairly good morning overall. Hope you guys are having a great week. And just a sneak peek into the future. Over the long weekend, I recorded a handful of videos with Amanda. We have another book series thing coming out. It's going to be probably end of this month, beginning of next month. So look forward to that in the future. And I'll see you around.